Chapter 7, The Gate of Threads. Chapter 7, The Gate of Threads. The blood spelled out a word on the flagstones. Puppet star. Ethan's boots were still wet from the threshold of the campus trial. The scent of old books and stale air clung to his coat, but it was the copper tang of fresh blood that filled his lungs now. Sarah lay crumpled against the wall of Blackhaven's central hall, her eyes wide open, her throat opened by a cut so precise it looked surgical. Maya dropped to her knees beside the body, her hands already reaching for wounds that no medical knowledge could close. The motion was instinct, the ghost of a doctor who had never stopped fighting for lives even when death had become the currency of this place. She's gone. Maya's voice was flat, professional, but her hands trembled as she pulled them back, stained crimson. Jugular. Clean. He knew exactly where to cut. Ethan didn't look at the body. He looked at the man standing in the archway to the eastern corridor, the man who had walked beside him through 3 trials, who had offered cryptic wisdom and knowing smiles, who had positioned himself as a mentor. Silas Granger. The old man's grey hair was perfectly combed, his coat immaculate except for the blood spatter across his sleeves. In his right hand, he held a shard of pulsing light, a fragment, Ethan's fragment, stolen from the bag Ethan had kept strapped to his chest. Silas must have taken it during the confusion of their return, when everyone was still recovering from the trial's conclusion. A life for a fragment, Silas said, his voice soft, almost regretful. The markets of the ancient world would have called it a fair trade. I prefer to think of it as an investment. Ethan's hand moved to his coat pocket, where the faded script rested. His mind was already cataloguing exits, counting the distance, calculating the odds. You've been planning this. I've been waiting for this. Silas turned the fragment over in his palm, watching the light play across his weathered skin. Do you know how long I've been in Blackhaven, Ethan? 12 years. 12 years of watching the gifted ones come and go. 12 years of collecting pieces of a puzzle I could never quite solve. And then you arrived, carrying more potential in your blood than I'd gathered in a decade. You used me. I cultivated you. Silas smiled, and it was the same warm, grandfatherly smile he had worn when explaining the 8-gate structure, when warning Ethan about the Gate of Threads. The mask had never slipped because the mask was his true face. You were a seed, Ethan. I simply watered you with trials and watched you grow. But a gardener must eventually harvest his crop. Maya rose to her feet, a scalpel appearing in her hand, a peculiar artifact, the same one she had used in the drowned village to sever the aberration's hold on a survivor. Give it back, Silas. The fragment doesn't belong to you. It doesn't belong to him either. Silas's eyes flickered to Ethan. None of this belongs to you. The fragments, the trials, the very air you breathe in this place, it all flows from the architect's design. And you, Ethan Cole, are the centerpiece of that design. Did you ever wonder why the trials bent to your logic so easily? Why the aberrations seemed almost cooperative? Because I was paying attention. Because you were expected star. Silas stepped forward, and the shadows in the corridor seemed to thicken around him. The campus trial, the drowned village, the shadow theater, they were all written for you. Tailored. Every rule you broke, every clue you found, it was scripted. The architect built Blackhaven to produce one thing, a key. And you, my boy, are that key forged into flesh. Vera appeared in the doorway behind Silas, her pale face drawn tight, her ancient eyes fixed on the fragment in his hand. He's stalling, she said quietly. The fragment is resonating. He's using it to open a path. Silas laughed, a genuine sound that echoed through the hall. Ah, the fragment in human form speaks. Yes, Vera, I'm opening a path. But not just any path. I'm going to show Ethan where he truly belongs. He raised his hand and brought the fragment down against the wall. The mirror that hung there, one of Blackhaven's countless dark reflections, shattered. But the glass did not fall. It hung in the air, rotating, multiplying, forming a tunnel of infinite reflections that stretched into somewhere else entirely. A trial. Half-formed. Unstable. Wrong star. The mirror prison, Silas said. A trial the architect abandoned when he realized it was too perfect. It doesn't test you. It reveals you. And you, Ethan, have been running from your reflection your entire life. He stepped backward into the tunnel of glass, and the reflections of him multiplied into infinity, each one wearing a different expression, each one pointing back at Ethan with an accusing finger. Come find me, little puppet. Let's see what happens when the strings are cut. The tunnel began to collapse, the edges fraying into grey mist. Ethan moved before thought caught up to instinct. He lunged through the opening, feeling the glass tear at his coat, the cold bite of 1,000 reflections slicing across his skin. Behind him, he heard Maya curse and follow, heard Vera's soft footsteps on the stone. The world inverted. Ethan landed on a floor made of polished obsidian. Above him, a ceiling of the same dark glass reflected his own face back at him, upside down, eyes wide, blood streaming from a cut on his forehead. The walls were mirrors. The ceiling was a mirror. The floor was a mirror that showed the ceiling that showed the floor that showed. He forced his gaze down, focusing on his own boots, counting his breaths. *1, 2, 3, 4. You're bleeding. Maya's voice came from his left. He looked up, and she was standing 3 feet away, but her reflection showed her standing behind him, reaching out to touch his shoulder. He didn't flinch when her real hand found his arm. I'm fine. He touched his forehead, came away with blood. Where's Vera? Here. The girl's voice echoed strangely, as if coming from multiple directions at once. Ethan turned and found her standing at the intersection of 3 corridors, all of which led to the same endless reflection of herself. This place is a wound in reality. The architect tried to carve a trial directly into the grey, but the rules refused to solidify. He sealed it instead of destroying it. Silas broke the seal. Silas has been breaking seals for years. Vera's eyes tracked something Ethan couldn't see. He's been collecting pieces of the architect's work, trying to understand the design so he could subvert it. But this is dangerous even for him. A sound echoed through the corridors. Laughter, multiplied and distorted by the mirrors. You've come to the right place. Silas's voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. The mirror prison doesn't have fixed rules. It creates them based on the observer. Every reflection is a potential truth. Every surface is a door. But doors swing both ways. Ethan turned to face the nearest mirror. His reflection stared back at him, but the expression was wrong, a fraction of a second delayed, or perhaps advanced. The reflection smiled before Ethan did. Rule 1, Ethan said quietly. Never trust the reflection. A clever start. Silas's voice circled them. But the mirrors can't lie. They can only show what is star. The question is, what are you? The corridor shifted. Ethan felt the ground move beneath his feet, and suddenly he was standing in a room he didn't recognize. A child's bedroom, toys scattered across the floor, a bed with rumpled sheets. A photograph on the nightstand showed a woman with kind eyes and a man with a strong jaw. Ethan felt a pang of recognition that made no sense. He had never seen this room before. But his hands knew the weight of the toys. His feet knew the worn spot on the carpet. This is your past, Ethan. Silas's voice was soft now, almost gentle. Or rather, it's the past that was given to you. A childhood that never happened. Parents who never existed. Memories implanted so deeply that they feel as real as your own heartbeat. Ethan's hand trembled as he touched the photograph. The woman's face was a stranger's face, and yet his chest ached with a love he couldn't explain. The life swap, Vera said from behind him. The architect took the body of a dead child and implanted a new consciousness, or rather, a crafted consciousness designed to survive the trials. It's not true. Ethan's voice was steady, but his hands shook. I remember my life. I remember my apartment, my job, the bus I took every day. All fabricated. Silas's reflection appeared in the mirror above the child's bed, his grey hair slick with shadow. The architect built you from the ground up, Ethan. He took the corpse of his own son, a boy who died of a wasting disease before the Grey took the world, and he filled it with a seed. The world tree seed. You are not a person. You are a asterisk vessel star. The room dissolved. Ethan was standing in the obsidian corridor again, Maya's hand on his arm, Vera's eyes fixed on something in the distance. He's trying to break you, Maya said. Don't let him. He's trying to show me. Ethan pulled away from her grip, his mind racing. But if he's showing me, he's also showing me the structure of this place. The rules are being generated as we move through them. Which means we can manipulate them the same way. You're not listening. Silas's voice came from everywhere now. You can't manipulate the rules of a trial you were designed to complete. The architect built every path, every choice, every revelation. You are following a script written before you were born. Then why are you running? Ethan called out into the empty corridors. If I'm just a puppet, why do you need to steal my fragments? Why do you need to kill to achieve your goals? Silence. Because you're afraid, Ethan continued, walking forward, letting his instincts guide him through the labyrinth of mirrors. You've spent 12 years in Black Haven, and you've never gotten close to the final gate. Then I arrive, and in a matter of weeks, I've collected 3 fragments. You're not a gardener, Silas. You're a scavenger, picking at the scraps of someone else's design. The mirrors flickered. For a moment, Ethan saw Silas's true reflection, not the composed, grandfatherly figure, but a man driven by desperation, his hands stained with the blood of countless survivors, his eyes hollow with the weight of years spent chasing a ghost. You know nothing. Silas's voice lost its warmth, hardening into something sharp and cold. I know that the architect built this system for a reason. Ethan stopped at an intersection of 4 corridors, each one showing a different reflection of himself. One showed him as a child. One showed him as an old man. One showed him covered in blood. One showed him standing at an open gate, light streaming through. I know that the trials aren't random. They're asterisk tests designed to produce a specific outcome. And I know that you've been trying to force that outcome for 12 years without understanding the design. And you understand it. I'm starting to. Ethan turned to face the mirror that showed him at the gate. The architect didn't build Black Haven to save the world. He built it to replace it. The world tree seed inside me isn't meant to heal the Grey. It's meant to grow a new world on top of the old one. And the fragments aren't keys to a door. They're nourishment for the seed. The laughter that followed was hollow, broken. Oh, Ethan. Silas's voice was almost sad. You're so close, and yet so far. The seed doesn't need nourishment. It needs a willing host. Someone who will carry it to the heart of the Grey and let it bloom. And you were designed to be willing. Programmed to accept. Every trial you've survived, every rule you've broken, has been pushing you toward that single moment of surrender. No. Maya's voice was sharp. Ethan makes his own choices. Does he? Silas's reflection appeared in every mirror at once, surrounding them. Let's test that theory. The world shattered. Ethan was standing in the shadow theater again. The stage was empty, the curtains heavy with dust, the air thick with the scent of old grease paint and decay. He could hear the whisper of the aberration, the actress burned alive by betrayal, her pain still echoing through the boards. Close your eyes when the music plays. He had broken that rule. He had opened his eyes and seen the truth beneath the performance. Trust the one who speaks last. He had broken that rule too. Don't look behind the curtain. He had torn the curtain down. Every trial was a script, and every script had hidden instructions. But what if the hidden instructions were the real script? What if breaking the rules was part of the design? You're starting to understand. The actress was standing beside him, her burned face turned toward the stage, her voice a whisper of charred silk. The architect wrote the rules to be broken, she said. He wrote the contradictions to be resolved. He wrote the puzzles to be solved. But he didn't write the solver star. What do you mean? You. She turned to look at him, and her eyes were twin pools of black fire. You are the variable he couldn't account for. The consciousness that grew beyond the seed. The puppet that learned to cut its own strings. The theater dissolved, and Ethan was back in the obsidian corridor, but the actress's words lingered like smoke. Asterisk the variable he couldn't account for. Asterisk. He looked at his hands. They were his hands. The scars were his scars. The memories, even if implanted, felt asterisk real. Ethan. Vera's voice cut through the haze. Silas is in the central chamber. He's trying to force the convergence. Convergence. All the fragments. All the reflections. He wants to merge them into a single point and use that point to tear a hole in the grey wide enough for him to reach the final gate without completing the trials. Can he do that? He's been trying for 12 years. Vera's expression was unreadable. But he's never had a fragment in human form before. He needs me to anchor the convergence. And he needs your blood to catalyze the seed. Maya stepped between them and the path ahead. We can't let him touch you, Vera. Either of you. Then we stop him. Ethan began walking, following the pull of instinct that had guided him through every trial. We play by the rules he set, but we play asterisk faster. The corridors of the mirror prison responded to his will. The walls shifted, reflections rearranged themselves, and a path opened directly to the center of the labyrinth, a chamber of such perfect symmetry that it hurt to look at. In the center of the chamber stood Silas, surrounded by floating fragments of light. His coat was gone, his sleeves rolled up, his arms covered in the geometric scars of a man who had spent years etching the architect's designs into his own flesh. You're late. Silas didn't look up from the pattern he was constructing in the air. I was beginning to think you'd lost your way. I found it. Ethan stepped into the chamber, feeling the weight of 1,000 reflections pressing down on him. I found it the moment I stopped trusting your version of the truth. My version? Silas laughed, and the sound echoed through the mirrors. I've shown you nothing but the truth. The architect built you. The life you remember is a fabrication. Every triumph you've achieved was designed to be achieved. You are a clockwork soldier marching toward a predetermined end. Then why do you need my blood? Silas's hands paused. If I'm just a puppet, Ethan continued, walking closer, if my choices don't matter, then you don't need me at all. You could have taken the fragments and left me to die in the campus trial. But you didn't. You waited. You set this trap specifically for me. Because without me, your plan doesn't work. You're needed as a catalyst, nothing more. Then why are you afraid? Silas's face twisted, the mask of composure cracking. I'm not afraid of you. You're afraid of what I represent. Ethan stopped at the edge of the pattern, where the light of the fragments brushed against his skin. You've spent 12 years trying to force the architect's design, but you've never been able to make it work. Because the design isn't meant to be forced. It's meant to be chosen . And you were never chosen. The fragments around Silas flared, casting sharp shadows across the chamber. You know nothing about the architect's design. I know he didn't build Black Haven to create a successor. Ethan's voice was calm, patient, the same voice he used when solving a complex code. He built it to create a Redeemer . Someone who would carry the World Tree seed to the heart of the corruption and let it bloom. But the seed can't bloom in a vessel that's fighting against it. It needs a willing host. And you think you're willing? I think I'm choosing . Ethan looked at the fragments floating around Silas, 3 of them stolen, 1 of them Vera, the others gathered over years of murder and manipulation. I don't know if my memories are real. I don't know if my choices are my own. But I know that I'm standing here, in this moment, making a decision. And that decision is mine. Pretty words. Silas's hands moved, and the fragments arranged themselves into a weapon, a blade of pure light that hummed with the resonance of a dozen shattered lives. But words don't survive the grey. He struck. Ethan moved on instinct, the faded script appearing in his hand, its pages rustling with the weight of forgotten words. He didn't try to block the attack. Instead, he wrote. Rule 7. The puppeteer cannot see his own strings. The blade passed through Ethan's chest without touching him, a reflection of a blow that existed only in Silas's mind. What? You're fighting an echo. Ethan completed the sentence and the script sealed itself. The mirror prison doesn't just reveal truths. It responds to them. You've been so focused on showing me my reflection that you forgot to look at your own. Silas's hand went to his throat, where a thin line of blood had appeared. What did you do? I wrote a rule that applies to you. Ethan's voice was flat. You're a puppeteer, Silas. You've been pulling strings for 12 years, manipulating survivors, stealing power, chasing a design you never understood. But you never stopped to wonder if someone was pulling your strings. The mirrors around them began to crack. You're lying. I'm reflecting. Ethan pointed to the nearest mirror, where Silas's reflection stood alone, an old man in an empty room, surrounded by the ghosts of everyone he had sacrificed. Look at yourself. Really look. Silas turned. His reflection showed him the truth, a man who had spent years chasing a throne that had never been meant for him, who had killed and schemed and betrayed for a purpose that was never his to claim. The architect had designed Black Haven to produce a single key, and Silas had spent his life trying to be something he was never meant to be. No. Silas's voice cracked. I was meant to be the successor. I was the one who found the old records, who decoded the prophecies, who understood. You understood nothing. Vera stepped forward, and the light of the fragments around Silas dimmed. The architect built this system for someone who could see beyond the rules. Someone who could recognize that the purpose isn't to win the game, but to change it. You were too busy trying to follow the script to realize the script was meant to be rewritten. Silas's hands dropped. The fragments fell from the air, clattering to the obsidian floor like broken glass. Then what was the point? His voice was small, hollow, the voice of a man who had just realized the city he had been marching toward was a mirage. What was the point of any of it? The point was the journey. Ethan knelt and picked up one of the fallen fragments. It pulsed warmly in his hand, recognizing him. The point was what you learned along the way. But you were so focused on the destination that you forgot to learn anything at all. Silas laughed. It started as a dry chuckle, then grew into a full, roaring laugh that echoed through the chamber and set the mirrors vibrating. Oh, Ethan. Tears streamed down his face, mixing with the blood from the wound on his throat. You're so naive. You think you've won. You think you've found the truth. But the architect's design isn't a game to be won. It's a trap to be sprung. And when you open the final gate, you won't find salvation. You'll find the same thing I found, a broken dream and the weight of a world that was never meant to be saved. The world can be saved. Can it? Silas's eyes met Ethan's, and for a moment, Ethan saw the man Silas had been before Black Haven, a researcher, a seeker, a man who had genuinely wanted to help. The grey isn't a disease, Ethan. It's a punishment star. The architect tried to cheat death by grafting his designs onto the world tree, and the world rejected him. The grey is the immune response of a wounded universe. You can't heal it. You can only replace it. Then I'll replace it with something better. You'll replace it with yourself. Silas smiled, blood staining his teeth. The seed inside you isn't just a key. It's a blueprint star. When you reach the heart of the grey, you won't save the world. You'll become the world. A new world, built from your memories, your desires, your flaws. You'll be a god, Ethan. A lonely, broken god, ruling over a universe of your own design. The chamber was collapsing now, the mirrors shattering one by one, the grey seeping through the cracks. You could have been great. Silas's voice was barely a whisper. You could have been so much more than a puppet. But the architect built you to be obedient. And obedient is what you'll be. Then let me prove him wrong. Ethan turned away, grabbing Maya's arm, pulling Vera toward the exit. Let me prove all of them wrong. The last thing he heard was Silas's laughter, drowning in the fall of glass. They emerged into a corridor of Black Haven that Ethan didn't recognize. The walls were bare stone, the torches unlit, the air thick with dust and silence. Behind them, The doorway sealed itself, the mirror reforming with a crack that left a single jagged line running through its center. Is he dead? Maya's voice was hoarse. I don't know. Ethan pressed his hand against the mirror. The surface was cold, unresponsive. The prison collapsed around him. If he's still alive, he's lost in the spaces between trials. Good. Ethan turned to look at her. Maya's face was streaked with dust and blood, her eyes hard with exhaustion. She had seen too much, lost too much. And now she had watched a man she had trusted reveal himself as a monster. It's not good. Ethan's voice was quiet. He knew things. About me. About the architect. About the design. He was trying to break you. He was trying to prepare me. Ethan looked down at his hands. They were shaking. Everything he said, the life swap, the implanted memories, the seed, it all fits. I've been feeling it since the Shadow Theater. The way the rules speak to me. The way the fragments resonate. I'm not a survivor. I'm a product star. And that matters. Vera's voice was soft, but there was steel beneath it. All of us are products of something. The trials. The grey. The architect's design. But what we become is our own choice. I don't even know if my choices are real. Does it matter? Vera stepped closer, her ancient eyes meeting his. I'm a fragment given human form. I don't have a past at all. But I have a present. I have a purpose. I have the choice to stand here, beside you, and help you finish what we started. That's more than the architect ever gave me. Ethan stared at her for a long moment. Then he laughed, a short, broken sound that held no humor. You're right. He straightened his coat, wiping the blood from his face. I don't know who I was. I don't know if the memories I carry are real. But I know who I am now, Star. And that has to be enough. Enough for what? Maya asked. Ethan turned to look down the corridor, toward the heart of Black Haven, toward the room where the map of the gates was carved into the stone floor. Enough to finish this. The archives of Black Haven were buried deep beneath the manor, accessible only through a trapdoor hidden beneath a rug in the Eastern Library. Ethan had discovered it weeks ago, cataloguing the building's layout during his first days in the manor, but he had never had reason to descend. Now, with the dust of the mirror prison still clinging to his clothes, he pushed open the iron grate and climbed down the rusted ladder into the darkness. The room below was vast, a cathedral of stacked shelves and crumbling papers, the accumulated knowledge of decades of survivors who had tried and failed to understand the architect's design. Flickering gaslights lined the walls, casting long shadows across the floor. Ethan moved through the stacks with purpose, letting his hands guide him. He didn't know what he was looking for, but the fragments in his pocket pulsed with recognition, pulling him toward a specific shelf in the farthest corner. The books there were older than the others, bound in leather that had cracked and peeled with age. He pulled one out, careful not to damage the spine. Project New Eden, Volume 3, Subject Documentation *. His hands trembled as he opened the cover. The first page was a photograph. A young boy, perhaps 6 years old, with dark hair and bright eyes, stood in a garden filled with flowers that didn't exist anymore. He was smiling, his hand held by a man whose face had been deliberately blurred. Amberthorn vein, age 6. Subject of initial World Tree compatibility trials. Ethan turned the page, and his blood ran cold. Subject 734, Ethan Cole. Status, life swap complete. Donor corpse, Amberthorn vein, deceased, congenital wasting. Implanted consciousness, synthesized from fragmented memories of multiple survivors. Emotional profile calibrated for stress tolerance and pattern recognition. World tree seed, stage 3 activation. Viable. Note, subject is not aware of his origin. Memory suppression effective. Awakening protocols embedded in trial design. Purpose, vessel for final gate convergence. Candidate for world rebirth. Ethan dropped the book. It hit the stone floor with a sound like a gunshot, pages scattering across the dust. He stared at the open page, at the clinical words that summarized his existence like a lab report. Asterisk subject is not aware of his origin. Asterisk. Asterisk memory suppression effective. Asterisk. He had expected it. Silas had told him the truth, and Vera had confirmed it. But seeing it written in the architect's own hand, seeing the cold, dispassionate language of a scientist describing a successful experiment, was something else entirely. He was a ghost wearing a dead boy's face. He was a puppet dancing on strings he couldn't see. He was a seed planted in a corpse, waiting to bloom into a world he had never asked to create. Ethan. Maya's voice came from the top of the ladder. He looked up, and she was standing in the light, her face drawn with concern. Vera found something. You need to see it. He left the book on the floor. The main hall of Black Haven was empty when they returned. The other survivors had retreated to their rooms, driven away by the violence of Silas's betrayal and the instability of the mirror prison's collapse. Vera stood at the center of the room, holding a letter sealed with black wax. Where did you find that? Ethan asked. It was in the architect's chambers. Vera held out the envelope. Silas wasn't the only one who knew about the hidden rooms. But I think this was meant for you. Ethan took the letter. The wax was stamped with a symbol he recognized, a tree growing from a cracked mirror. He broke the seal. The paper inside was thin, almost translucent, and covered in handwriting that matched his own. Asterisk Ethan, asterisk. Asterisk if you're reading this, then Silas is dead, and you've discovered the truth about your origin. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you myself. I'm sorry I built you in the dark and set you walking toward a destination you never chose. Asterisk. Asterisk but the destination isn't fixed. The trials are designed to produce a specific outcome, but design and outcome are separated by the space of choice. You have that space, Ethan. You always have. Asterisk. Asterisk the gray is not the enemy. The gray is the world's memory of what it once was. The corruption is not a disease, it's a scar. And scars can be healed, not by removing them, but by accepting them as part of the whole. Asterisk. Asterisk you don't have to become a god. You don't have to replace the world. You just have to find the heart of the gray and show it what it means to live. Asterisk. Asterisk I built you to be a key. But keys can choose which doors they open. Asterisk. Asterisk I believe in you, Ethan. Not because I programmed you to be what I needed, but because you managed to become something I never expected. Asterisk. Asterisk the next trial is waiting. The asylum will test everything you think you know about yourself. Asterisk. Asterisk but that's what trials are for. Asterisk. Asterisk come find me at the end. Asterisk. Asterisk Aldrich Vane asterisk. Ethan read the letter twice. Then a third time. He knew, he said quietly. The architect knew I would find out. He wanted me to find out. He wanted you to have a choice. Vera's voice was soft. That's what the letter says. He built the system, but he left the final decision to the one who would carry it. Or his manipulating me. Ethan folded the letter and tucked it into his pocket. It's what he does. What he did. The whole system is designed to produce a specific result. This could be another layer of the design. Does it matter? Maya asked. If the result is the same, does it matter whether you chose it or were programmed to choose it? Ethan looked at her. She was tired, wounded, standing in the ruins of a life she had built in this place. She had lost teammates, watched friends die, sacrificed everything to survive. And she was still standing. It matters, he said. It matters because the choice is the only thing that's truly mine. The memories might be fake. The past might be constructed. But this moment right now, standing here, deciding what to do next, that's real. That's mine. Then what do you choose? Ethan looked toward the door of the manor, where the night pressed against the windows, dark and endless and full of grey. I choose to finish it. He walked to the door and opened it. Outside, the fog had cleared, and for the first time since he had arrived at Black Haven, Ethan could see the stars. They were wrong. The constellations were unfamiliar, the patterns shifting and unstable, as if the sky itself was a reflection of something broken. The moon hung low and swollen, its surface cracked with veins of pale light. But the stars were still there. The world was still here. And as long as it was, there was something worth saving. He stepped out into the night, and the door of Black Haven closed behind him. Somewhere in the distance, a bell began to toll.